Doesn't seem to be ending, does it? NHS managers are told not to offer sympathy to female colleagues worried about sharing toilets with biological men in woke handbook. Yes, fake women, transgender women, and they're really biological men. That's what transgender means. Fake, translate transgender to fake, and you end up with the truth. Transgender woman equals fake woman. Transgender man equals fake man. Thousands of workers at hospital trust in the North East were given a handbook. You had a handbook? Oh, here you go. Here's the, from Mott, here's the little red handbook, my dear. Take it and read it, or you'll be off to the, wherever it was, the gulag. It forbids team leaders using "I understand your concerns" to those who complain. NHS managers have been told not to sympathise with female colleagues worried about sharing toilets with biological males. All them perverts going into the toilets because they want to see the nurses. Dirty perverts. Yep, that's what they are. And, oops, got a bit lost. Thousands of workers at a hospital trust in the North East have been given a woke handbook which forbids team leaders using phrases such as "I understand your concerns" to anyone who complains about the issue. The 38-page document, which applies to more than 8,300 doctors, nurses and support staff, also say that it's discriminatory not to use a trans or non-binary person's preferred pronoun. Yeah, love it, love it, love it, love it. You will call me. Well, today I want to be called witch. Whoa, ho, woke, 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 woke. Yes. South Tyneside. Is that Newcastle or Sunderland? I bet you're all going crazy off there now, aren't you? Hey, if you're from Newcastle or Sunderland. NHS Foundation Trust has been accused of unlawfully discriminating against employees with gender-critical views, with critics calling it a recipe for bullying women. And that's what it is, isn't it? This is what this is all about. Oppression of real biological women. The oppression of real biological women by real biological men. Yes, in sport, we see it. We see it in other areas of life and here as well, where men dressed as women will be allowed to go into the little girls' toilets and get their penises out as they urinate into the sink, maybe, or whatever they urinate into. But they'll be getting their penises out, won't they, in front of little girls, in front of your daughter, my daughter, your mother, my mother, your sister, my sister, and our girlfriends, in terms of, friends. Okay, girlfriend doesn't mean, you know what I mean. Anyway, the Free Speech Union also said the policy must be withdrawn. But the woke agenda must continue, mustn't it? Under the Transitioning at Work and Gender Diversity policy, staff are told it is transphobic to deliberately use the name a trans colleague had prior to transition. So if Freddie becomes Frederica or Frederica, and I say, "Hey, Freddie," which I've been calling you for 20 years, hey, I've got a dress on now, mate. You've got to call me Frederica or Frederica. Otherwise I'm doing you. I'll sue you. I'll take for everything you've earned in your entire life and I'm going to take it off you because you're not living in my fantasy land. My denial of who and what I really am. Because I believe I can be whatever I want to be, including a furry with a dress on. But really I've got a penis between my legs hanging there. Woo! Yep, that's the sick world we're living in. Under the Transitioning at Work and Gender Diversity policy, staff are told it is transphobic to deliberately use the name a trans colleague had prior to transition. They're also told it is offensive to ask a trans or non-binary person questions such as, "Which bathroom do you use? Which bathroom do you use, baby?" "I use the little girls one I use now, because I've always liked little girls, and I've always wanted to get into the women's changing rooms." Yes, I have. Yes. The policy tells bosses that employees who identify as a different gender should be allowed to use alternative changing rooms and showers. Even if they have no plans to medically transition. Dear me. So I can just go anywhere you like. now, folks. Hey, blokes, go anywhere you like. Just tell them you're a woman, okay? And you can use you can use the showers. Hey, any birds you fancied lately? You've seen them going into the showers, at the bathroom or wherever, at work. Yeah, you can say, hey, babe, I am now a woman, and I'm going to come into your showers and there's nothing you can do about it. Do you like what I've got, baby? Oh, yeah. That's where we're at. The insanity, the madness, the craziness. Yes, called gaslighting, folks. Called gaslighting. Have you ever read 1984 by George Orwell or Brave New World by Aldous Huxley? Dear me. It reads, managers must not make supportive comments such as, I understand your concerns, to staff who, for example, complain about trans and non-binary colleagues having access to gendered spaces. Actually, the NHS also is responsible for allowing on a ward a biological male who claimed he was a female. They allowed him on the ward. He raped somebody on that ward, a female on that ward, and when it was reported to the police, the NHS and the NHS staff, hospital managers, informed the police it was impossible for this biological female to be raped by a biological male because there were no males on the ward. But there was. It's just that he decided he was no longer a male. So they told the police, it's impossible. That's gaslighting. That's insane. Eventually, they used the CCTV to get the guilt, and the NHS admitted what they were doing. This is the NHS. This is the place you go when you're sick to be safe. And they're letting blokes pretend they're women into hospital wards and into the women's toilets. Dear me. This policy applies to everyone, including applicants applying for a job, staff including agency and volunteers, services users, and carers. Does that mean patients? Visitors. So if I go into as a visitor or a patient by the sounds of it, a user on a day case or whatever, and I say, whoa, hang on, mate, you can't use that toilet because my daughter's going in there, or if I was married, my wife's going in there, or my girlfriend as in friend is going in there, what's going to happen to me? The likelihood is that I'll be the one getting kicked out of the hospital, but the pervert will be allowed in the women's bogs. Unbelievable. Doesn't it make you nuts? Doesn't it make you furious to know that you're being gaslighted, and those at the top who were supposed to be the managers are going along with this and propagating this? The government is allowing this? The Equality Act orders employers not to discriminate against staff on several protected characteristics that include religion and belief. Now campaigners have told the Trust the policy must be scrapped. In a letter to bosses at the Trust, Toby Young, director of the Free Speech Union, said, we are writing to request that this policy be immediately withdrawn and an urgent review undertaken. Why can't they have their own support toilets? Why can't they build a little cubicle right out the way of everybody else for them to use? If you're a trans-o, if you're a fake-o, if you want to think you're a woman and you're not, and you're a man and you're a man and you're not, but you're a woman, then you should have your own little toilet and you can all fondle each other in there and pervert each other's flipping sexual organs in there and tell each other how you are now out. Ooh, it's such a relief. Ooh, have you got a vagina? Have you got a penis? Ooh, let's swap. We can be whatever we want to be. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Dear me! We are especially concerned by its insistence that female staff cannot refuse to use the same bathroom facilities as biological males and cannot express any concerns about having to do so. The Trust must strike a balance between protecting trans individuals from harassment and discrimination and protecting the rights of gender-critical employees. Look, I don't give a toss. If you want to pretend you're a man and you're really a woman, or if you want to pretend you're a woman and you're really a man, I don't give a damn. But don't expect me to fall into your fantasy land. You can have your bog. You can walk down the streets dressed as a woman, dressed as a man, or whatever you want to call yourself. Who gives a damn? Who gives a damn? You can have your rights to do that. But don't expect me to play along with your bloody fantasy land, because it won't happen. It will not happen. I have never surrendered before, and I'll never surrender now to idiots. Gender-critical author Helen Joyce added, this policy clearly unlawfully discriminates against trust employees who hold gender-critical beliefs, which it does. You're not allowed. It's all part of it. Double speak. All this kind. Read 1984, George Orwell, 1984, and The Brave New World. I'm telling you, it's in there. Did they know way back then? Were they stooges told to write this because this is going to happen? We're going to bring this in. It's just unbelievable. Kath Griffin, Director of Human Resources and Organisational Development at the Trust, said the policy was developed in partnership with our staff and trade. It wasn't developed in policy with the staff, because probably most of the staff disagree with it, especially most of the women. Oh, the blokes will be having a field day. They'll all be wearing dresses tomorrow. Oh, it is an important part of promoting, respecting and celebrating equality. Dear me. The Department of Health spokesman said biological sex is fundamentally important when it comes to defining what a woman is and protecting single-sex spaces. Spaces which are reserved solely for women and girls should be maintained by NHS trusts in line with the Equality Act. Maya Forrester, who lost her job after saying that people cannot change their biological sex, said this policy is a recipe for bullying women out of the workplace and making it hostile and intimidating for them. Yeah, she lost her job. Just for saying, right, people can't change their biological sex. Well, people can't change their biological sex. XY chromosome, XX chromosome. If you've got a Y chromosome in your genetic code, you are a male. You are a male. End of. Get over yourself and accept the reality and stop rebelling. Stop rebelling against the natural order which God created. He made male and female. Adam and Eve. Not Adam and Adam, not Jane and Jane, or even Eve, or whatever you want to be called. Adam and Eve. Jesus Christ said, male and female he created them. This is why a man will leave his parents to marry his wife, a woman, a female, biological. Not because of someone who says, I'm suddenly this or I'm suddenly that. It's perversion and it's sexual immorality. And you can guarantee, I've listened to interviews, those that are pushing this are sexual deviants. Sexual deviants. And they will put their penis or their vagina wherever they get pleasure. And that's the truth. In a man's bottom, or in a woman's vagina, or two women together, whatever, male and female all mixed up, these are propagators of the mutilators of the flesh, rebelling against God. The Bible says those who are in Jesus Christ, and he talks about sexual immorality, and it says, this is what some of you were. This is what some of you were. But you've been washed, you've been cleaned, you've been changed, you've been regenerated, you've been born again, you've been born from above. You are no longer what you were. You are a new creation in Jesus Christ. For those, and that is for those of you who say, oh yes, but I'm Christian and I'm gay, or I'm Christian and I'm transgender. I'm sorry, you're not a follower of Jesus Christ. There are commandments. God is not just love, he judges righteously. And there are commandments that Jesus Christ gave for his followers to follow and abide by. We're all sinners. Everyone has fallen short of the standard of God. God has a standard. And in order to be made right with God, you must be born from above, washed in the blood of Jesus Christ. His blood takes away your sin. He will regenerate you. He will then give you a new life in Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ is coming again, not to deal with sin, but for those who are eagerly waiting for him. Yes, who are eagerly waiting for him.